Hello everybody, welcome back to the workbench. What do we see before us? I guess a dry mock-up of the complete frame, pretty much as it's going to be when it's built. Run into a couple of issues. I haven't uploaded much. Spare time, things been going on. Making bits of progress here and there. But yeah, we're getting somewhere. Running into a couple of issues. I'll highlight those in a minute. But things are looking all right. Can't remember where we left off. Swing arm got completed. By that, I mean the brace was put in. I'm gonna have to, we're wobbling a bit, yeah. Pinch bolts for the dropouts got welded in. These were square, so I've chopped that. Gives you a bit more access with the release. I might be putting a solid bolt-in axle. This is what I got at the moment. I might change that. There was a little bit of shrinkage. Luckily, it was even, both sides. When the brace or the crown got welded in, it hasn't put anything out of line, but it has sort of pinched this in just a touch. How I knew that is obviously I've got a 147mm rear axle or rear hub. When I went to put it in, it was like hella tight. So I loosened the pinch bolts off, which popped out a little bit, or rather these popped in, and the dropouts recessed. It looks like about 2mm each side, but that's not an issue. I can grind them flush, and then we'll have a lovely easy in, easy out of the hub. Right, moving on. Dog bone and everything went in, both sides. Run into an issue with this here. Slight, or quite a major miscalculation, because I'm decided to put the pivot in front of the, let's move here. Because I decided to put the pivot in front of the seat tube. Obviously it altered the chain line, didn't it? So now the chain runs directly in front of this dog bone pivot or mount. I dry fitted the chain, and I had a tapered washer on the end. Got that over there. Quite enjoyed making these. Pretty simple. M6. I'm looking to use as much stainless steel as I can. Nobody wants rusty bolts, but there we go. So it was an M6, cut short. This is just tapered just enough, so there's a bit of meat in there. And you can recess that. It looks nice and neat. Everyone loves a taper. So that was too proud, and the chain was rubbing on it. So this side, there's, we're not hanging a house off this. This is literally just a safeguard, just to stop the bearing coming off. All the it's late, isn't it? What's all the weight's going to be pulling this way. There's nothing coming off. Anyway, let's move on. So that was a pretty easy fix. I did shit my pants a bit when I saw that. It's not a problem. The crankset fitted in lovely. The eccentric works nice. Like I said, I dry fitted the chain. I got a big beefy fucking half link going on, just because that's what I wanted. If I could probably put like, 10 speed or something on, something like that. But anyway, you can see where the issue is. It's pretty close to this one, but when the bottom bracket is rotated in the shell, it's going to pull the sprocket forward and down, so that's fine. I could even just like mill a little flat or something on there. It's not an issue, but that's nice and free. Nothing there. Came out quite nice. I've put a taper headed M6 stainless in. Cut the taper in the washer, so it all sits nice and flush. So that was a little panic sorted. That's how she's going to look with the chain. Hella long chain, but doesn't really matter. I mean, like, this is Mark 1. Am I going to make another one? Possibly. Is the next one going to be a trail bike, enduro bike? More than likely. I quite like the design. Hopefully this will ride quite nice and I can make adjustments. Moving on, there's a big ugly stainless bolt here. That needs to be cut down. It's a shanked bolt, so the shank is like all the way through. I just need to cut that down. Get a nylock nut on there, not a problem. Tabs got welded on, easy peasy. I think I showed you the shock linkage and dog bones, but anyway, they all got machined on the new mill. That's all running nice and smooth. That's fine. I had to make, I'm not sure if you can see them, spacers to go in between the sprocket carriers and the jack shaft bearings, just to stop the end float. So I think there was a 4mm this side and a 3mm this side to get the chain line quite nice, so that's okay. Another job which was quite fun to do, seat post shim, mother of all seat post shims. I'm not particularly sure what thickness that is. I mean, I haven't put a sleeved seat tube in. That's probably going to get cut down to about a year, I think, looking at it. Anyway, so seat post shim, turned it out in the lathe, put a little step on, got a 2mm end mill, just cut that slot on the end mill, on the milling machine. So that came out really nice. I still need to make a seat post collar, but the clamp, I was going to do pinch bolts, but they're a bit ugly, and I got a plan for a clamp anyway. But the lathe has shit the bed a little bit at the moment. The belt's stripped on it. It's like the third belt. Everything's aligned on it, but it just seems to be munching belts. I don't know whether I'm a bit heavy on my cuts. Probably. I want to get things done quick. But yeah, I've munched through like 2 belts on it since I've had it now. Shock mounts, yes. A fixed shock mount now. I've got no adjustability. The plan was to have a bracket and see if I can find them. Yeah, got them. Right, so the plan was a bracket on there and then a lovely machined, I've cut a slot out there, but a machined shock mount with like multiple holes, so this could be dropped in different positions. Probably wouldn't need that much adjustability, but I thought it was nice to be able to have. But turned out that this was pushing the shock out too much that way, causing an interference there. There isn't interference there now. I've cycled this through with the spring out, and there's plenty of clearance. Possibly on a super heavy bottom out, this might hit the bottom of the shock. I'm planning on getting an Öhlins TTX. It's got the piggyback up around the top. No clearance issues. Should fit in nice. But a lot of money. Not going to use that for a minute. So I'm going to stick with this. Pretty much mint. Vanilla RC. Proper old school. So it's running fine at the moment. Should I smash that off? I don't know. Am I going to cut a little notch out here? Possibly. Yeah, this could have a little notch in it. Anyway, so we binned that idea. As nice as it was looking, I cut that so it could tuck in nicely. But there, it was going to be longer, multiple holes, so I could like drop it up and down. But anyway, that's gone to the bin. These are welded on now. Came out quite nice. All hand cut, hand filed. Looking good. Moving on. Where are we? Had to make a new shock pin, shock mount pin and spacers. Easy enough job. This isn't tight yet. So they're in there. And there we are. That's kind of like the update. I ended up getting a larger idler wheel for this side. What is it? A 20 tooth. Just to give me a bit more clearance. It has messed up my initial gearing on the single speed, but we can work with that. I can always change the gearing at the hub. Bigger or smaller sprockets, it's not a problem. So yeah, quite exciting. Did I show you these? Anyway, it's just a big old M8 going straight through. Nice tapered washer each side. No, it's not. No, it's not. Tapered washer, M6 onto the Boss. That was another thing. I'm not sure if you can see them now, but the Boss, which goes through the frame. I think I said in another video it had gone in slightly pissed. Because I cut the hole on the lathe. It looked pretty good at the time, but I don't know why when I lined everything up it wasn't quite right. As it happened, I wasn't quite happy with the dimensions. So what I wanted to do was put a larger Boss in, a little bit more sort of spread. The load is a bit more evenly spread, get a bit more weld on it, and I can run slightly bigger bearings in here. No, same size bearings, sorry. Just bit, yeah, slightly bigger. So I had the opportunity to take the frame apart, clamp the main pivot, because these have to be in line with the main pivot and the rest of the bike, obviously. But I know the main pivot's in line with the rest of the frame and the bottom bracket. So I bolted this to the table and I cut the hole out with a, what did I go for? I think it was a 19mm in the end. I think it was 16, but it's a 19mm hole going through now. And that's perfectly in line with the main pivot. Put the dog bone assembly, the shock mount, and everything went back together. Like no wiggle, didn't have to bend anything to get it in line. It just all slotted together nicely, which is good. Happy so far. My next jobs, I have got to, I won't be splitting the seat post until I know how long I want it, and then I'll be drilling a little hole in there, splitting it with the angle grinder. Right, I will move on. Dog bone washers I've done. Jack shaft spacers are done. I'm just looking at my list on the wall. Jobs I need to do and jobs I've done. I'll wipe them off as I go. Next thing I wanted to show you Again, I don't know how much I've shown you. A single pivot design like this is going to suffer from breakjack. Also, due to the eccentric dropouts at the hub end, I'm all the way forward at the moment, but when everything's set and I'm putting tension on the chain, this is going to drop down and back, or up and back, whatever orientation I feel like. If I feel like I need to drop things a little bit, this will go up and back. If I feel this needs to go a little bit higher, I can drop it down and back. Either way, there's quite a lot of swing on here to get the chain tension. And what that means, a conventional brake mount, even though I can put slots in, it won't allow for much vertical movement, even though I can get horizontal movement. And that's going to make a nightmare for me to align the caliper with the disc and to have the pads and the rotor mating properly. So what I'm doing, I'm going old school, as this is pretty much an old school bike. Get my seat out of the way. So what we're going to have is a floating caliper. That's going to be bolted on there. That'll go, luckily there's enough on the hub. I can put a bearing on, there's the end cap on the hub, put a bearing on there, that'll get on the bearings. Odd size bearings, I think it's like 19mm inside, 27mm outside, some sort of bottom bracket bearing. Haven't completely finished this yet. Put a radius on by hand because I didn't fancy doing the whole dumb ways to die on the milling machine again. But most, 90% of this has been done on the milling machine. Strange shapes. So at times I had like really long stick out on the end mill. The part sort of like wonky in the vise. But yeah, I've got there in the end, and like I've dry fitted it on the wheel with the disc, and it's all perfect. So what that will mean is we will have this on the hub, caliper mounted, disc obviously in. Then what I've got is aluminium rod, I think it's 61 T6, I think. Stainless steel studs, Loctited in. This one will get Loctited in as well, making it one solid piece. But then we got adjustability on the end, and that will then get bolted onto there. This rotates around the hub, and as the suspension cycles, rather than brake jack, what will happen is that it's hard to show. What will happen is that the caliper will stay in the same orientation on the disc, so that'll eliminate brake jack. This gets mounted, it's a bit tricky to see here, so this gets mounted there, so all inside. That gets sent up to here. It's a bit long at the moment, so it'll get another rod end. These are quite nice ones. There's not much, well, there isn't any play in these. Sometimes they can be a bit sloppy because they're just used for, like, not high tolerance use. But these seem pretty good. How long they'll last, I don't know. We're just playing, we just have to wait and see. But it looks like a bronze oil light. Let's hope. It seems to be. It's pretty slick, like. So yeah, anyway, yeah, another turnbuckle up here. A little boss welded on there, and that's that. That's how you eliminate brake jack. So as the suspension cycles, this stays a constant length. Well, everything stays a constant length, isn't it? But it isolates the brake. So it's an isolator, isn't it? So it isolates the braking force from the suspension force. That's where we're at. Sorry I haven't done many uploads recently. Just making progress, really. Nothing else to say, really. I've got braking tabs. Not braking tabs. Cable clamps. From Seaway. Pretty much the only way to do it neatly, isn't it? So, you know, seen them 1,000 times, haven't we? So that's them. Gonna get welded on wherever. They got a bit of a notch ground into them. That just helps you get them on neatly. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go. I think I'm going to be routing top tube to maybe absolute top of the swing arm. I'm not sure yet, but I got a big bag full of these so I can put loads on. They came with the plastic clips. I don't think I've ever used the plastic clips that come with these. I don't think anyone does, do they? We'll see. Like, you know, they're pretty strong things. There's no reason why they shouldn't work, but you don't normally see them being used. It's normally a cable tie, but you know, I got them. I'll run them. We'll see. Thanks for watching. A bit more waffle as usual. When it comes to the, I'll probably do a couple of dry fits of everything first before I do a wet fit. What I mean by that is, you know, stuff will get Loctite, stuff will get grease, all the bearings will have the seals popped, filled with my grease of choice. Everything will be checked, and then we will wet assemble. So Loctite, grease, final fit and assembly. I will film that because it's always nice to do when you're doing a build. Whoops. To document the actual build. Don't have a lot of space in here, so it might be in the form of photographs. It could be in the form of video, so keep an eye out for that. And then I'll probably do some sort of bike check. You know, you might be more interested in that than listening to me whine on about things I'm doing and things I can't do. We'll see. But until the next one, thanks very much.